Hello, this is a video of a refinement video of the one I did last night, which was this feature one. So when enemies die, they're not destroyed; they just stay persistent in the death end sprite. And when you leave level, you come back, they're still in that same sprite. They don't disappear, they don't deload or like despawn or anything. The moment I did it, I thought to myself, there's a cleaner way to do it. So I won't go into too much detail of that video. I will just have this as an addendum of, this is how we left it. This is what I've realized we can actually do. Um, right, so let me go to enemies. No, blueprints one, not the assets one. Character. Animation blueprint. Right, so I created a, I'll just get them for you. On uh, dead on, death on, death on. Right. So there's normal death animation is they're alive and then they die. But the death on start animation, we don't want to play that animation every time, do we? We want it to just play a single sprite, so like the death sprite, so like this. So I created these separate sprites. At the moment I did it, I knew there was a cleaner way. Instead of these, if we delete them, let's just change them. Oh, actually, you know what? We won't do it that way yet. What we will do is we'll delete it through the animation blueprint first. So we'll look at the top. We've got medical bald. Zombie medical. There's 5 different variations. One of them is like a balding variation. So we've got death. So death on start is only true if they've died and you've saved it and then you've loaded that level back up. Whether that's going through the door and then coming back into the room, like going out the room, going back into the room, or you're doing a save and then a load, that's when death and start is true. Death and start is always false in all other situations. If you kill them for the first time in the level, it will play the full death animation. Else, it will play that still that we just saw. But what we can actually do is, if I copy and paste that same death animation, and if I go to details, we see here if I put the start position as 2, I believe it's seconds, and because the death animation doesn't loop, you see, it just does it once, and 2 is the end, I'm essentially picking that same animation but that last sprite rather than splitting apart a separate last sprite. So let me just repeat the process. You might be thinking, alright, Nick, well, does it really matter? Well, I guess you could say it matters if you want to reduce the amount of unnecessary items you've got. So I've got about 25 odd enemies. So if we count the variations, probably 100 different enemies, and then those 100 different enemies, each would have their own death on start, which would be 100 extra flip books going into 100 extra animation sequences going in, and that would be adding 100 sequences to this master animation blueprint, which connects to the animation source. You see this? All these. So you can see how one little change can become quite substantial. This way, we just harness its current animation. And yeah, save space. This does look a bit unwieldy, don't worry. It is significantly better than having 25 different animation blueprints. It's just checking for the name, checking for the style, and then if it's style 1, random int and 1, and there's zombie medical in the name, then there you go. You get that one, else that one, else that one, else that one, but otherwise it'll never go into zombie medical, will it? it never get into the style, this kind of like dead end loop here, this final else, this final like false else thing, because if it's not zombie medical, it'll just go to the next one, and then go to the next one. So that's the function. But what we're doing right now is I'm just double checking I've done it. So we've got death, so that's bald, scarred, black alt, black. There's another one, isn't there? One sec, let's track it down. Bald. Right, so we haven't done hair. Hair's the one we haven't. Yeah, I think it's just this one. Right, so copy, paste, go like that, go like that. We'll do 2. We will play it now, just to show you what you're looking at. They'll still die on touch, but I'll try to shoot him before he touches me. And I'm stuck. Well, it's gonna be anyone's guess at this rate. Oh, that was really loud, apologies. It did come through the surround sound though. So, right, so he's like that. So we're gonna leave, we're gonna come back, and it's not gonna play that animation, it's just gonna be like that. If you're wondering why I set it to 2, well, I set it to 1 and it was still playing the last 2 sprites where the blood comes out. So, you know what? You could argue that we're just not seeing it in time. So I'm going to kill him near it, just so you truly believe me. Oh, sorry, I've pressed escape. There must be a game I'm playing. I don't think it's Stalker 2, but there must be something where I'm pressing escape to knock off the inventories. Oh no, this guy just let him touch me. That was bad shooting. Right, so he's there. So keep an eye on the blood. If the blood doesn't change, which it shouldn't, because we should be only catching the last sprite, everything should be fine. There we go, perfect. So we've reduced, so we can delete them now. Death on, really it should be dead on start, it's just a throwback. Force delete because we're not using them. So we've cut out 5 different flipbooks, 5 different animation sources. We've simplified this logic. The only question now is this start position. How do we define it? I guess if you wanted to, you really wanted to, you could get a variable to look at the time of, let me show you, death, to look at the time of this, not even so much the sequence, but not that, like the flipbook, to get the time of the flipbook. I'm sure there'll be like a counter of time somewhere, I'm just not seeing it. Yeah, so you could save that as a variable, or like get end, save it as a variable, and then feed that variable in there, and you just could expose it like that. But to be honest with you, unless you're frequently changing the length of your death animations, or even maybe it's not death, maybe it's something else you're trying to do, I would just stick the start position in there. But if you are frequently changing it, then definitely don't stick the start position in there, because if you're like me, it's going to be, there we go, haystack. Try and find a needle in the haystack. So, yeah, it works for me. This change has just streamlined the process. It will be what I'll do for the all the others. It means I can just I can repurpose what I've already got for a minimal hit on performance and like size, rather than having to take what I've got, trim it, tweak it, add it in as another thingy, another instance of all the animations. But yeah, thank you for your time. Yeah, I'll see you in a bit.